Back on the Rob Dibble Show with Ben Darnell in your afternoon drive. Thank you so much for keeping us on the air. Kurt's Kaplan on the ones and twos. Our newest addition, John, is back there while he's running the video and stuff. Where can people see us on the video?
We're going to be putting all these on YouTube here shortly. We got a YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, put in the Rob Dibble Show. You can find it all there. Pretty soon it's going to be just streamlined. Well, that will be live, and you'll be able to watch our studios from 3 o'clock Monday through Friday.
Awesome. Very nice. Let's go bowling, man. I love the fact that not enough teams actually were 500 this year.
Yeah.
So that increases the chances of UConn getting a bowl game.
Well, UConn is in. They're 6-6. They're eligible, and this happens every year. When you're 6-6, stamp your ticket. You're going. Because I think we're at like 46 bowls, maybe 42.
Is this going to cost us like the last time we went to a bowl?
I would love to see those receipts. I've been hearing that since I moved here. Listen, when we went to that bowl game,
dude.
We lost a lot of money.
It's a state school.
Yeah,
we know the receipts.
Well, I know the regime that was in that particular driver's seat that time, and I remember. I've heard some things. A lot of money was spent that shouldn't have been spent.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, everybody's going. That had nothing to do with it.
I would say, and people don't think of this, but it's true. When you get on, like Florida Gulf Coast is the best example. When Florida Gulf Coast won 2 games or 3 games, made it to the Elite 8 in March Madness, which really was, you knew about Florida Gulf Coast for a week and a half. Their enrollment jumped 600%. Their donorship jumped over 1,200%. That's bonkers money for a week and a half on television for a school. UConn football, this is a necessity in my world. This is a necessity for this program to get more eyeballs for recruits from around the country to make them better and badder for years to come. Who will they play? I don't know. I really don't. The bowl system.
Does it matter who they play?
Great point. I think it does for the bowl game. I think it does for fans around here, whether you're going to tune in or not. I think that if they played, I don't know, I'm going to throw another 6-6 at you. Georgia Southern versus UConn. I mean, I would like it because I think we can win that game, right. But it just doesn't get me juiced to where like, oh yeah, Georgia Southern. What are they? The Muskrats? Oh, go down, Muskrats. Like that one just doesn't juice it up for me like it would. Here's another 6-6 for you. Oklahoma. Oh, dibs. What if we played Oklahoma and beat them? Oh, we'd be talking about that for years around here. Eons. Now, our friend Dom Amore was on the show yesterday. You can always catch Dom on our show, Hartford Current's best of the best Hartford Current sports writer. Now, Dom says, and I think this is in his heart, Dom doesn't like Duke. I think we can say that without confirmation. Dom does not like Duke. I think it's a basketball thing more than a football thing. But Dom does not like Duke, and Dom would love to beat Duke in football. That's what he said on this show, that he thought that a Duke-UConn football bowl game matchup would be good for both parties. I totally agree about that. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Duke is 8-4. And if you just put them all in the same category, because ACC is in divisions, if you put them all in the same category, they're 5th in the ACC. Now, Power 5 conferences have locked-in contracts with some big bowl games.
Right.
So, maybe us independent UConners will get into one of those bowl games. But Duke being 8-4, us being 6-6, those contracts already existing, us being independent, them being ACC, that might not happen.
Some teams that are not bowl eligible that would be nice to play. Oklahoma, Virginia Tech.
Oklahoma's 6-6. They can make it.
Miami, Texas Tech, Wisconsin, Nebraska, BYU, and Auburn.
Auburn might be one of those 5-7s, but another thing you got to factor in is this. Coaching switches. A lot of bowl games do not want teams, especially 5-7,
coaches,
when they don't have an actual head coach to play. Hugh Freeze will be leaving Liberty, and that's going to be a bowl game. So Liberty's, UConn may be in a better position than Liberty. For one, they beat Liberty. For the other, their head coach is, we hope our head coach is going to be here next year. I think he is. All accounts say he will be. But the bowl games, want to see Jim Mora Jr. coaching UConn. And you'd like to see Liberty with Hugh Freeze, but since that's not going to happen, it's all a popularity contest, man. It's about ratings. It's about trying to get eyeballs on the television set. Let me give you some teams. Let's go teams first. These are 6-6 teams. Would you put this on your UConn Bowl Christmas list? Wish list. Kansas. 6-6 Kansas.
Nah.
No?
Doesn't float my boat.
Well, UConn, Kansas, you got them in basketball. It's kind of
Great
like
in basketball, not football.
6-6 Wisconsin.
I absolutely want to play Wisconsin.
Wisconsin is one of those teams that's going through a coach switch. Luke Fickell will be there next year. If you beat Wisconsin, that would be a feather in the cap, huge. I think, even though that they're having a down year. Florida Gators.
That's
6-6 Florida Gators. Now, there are a couple bowl games down in Florida that they would love to have the Gators. And UConn's basketball brand does carry with the football brand. So I would think that the Florida Bulls would like those two teams matching up.
I can give you a couple of bowls that don't have direct tie-in affiliations.
Oh, I want this list.
The Cure.
The Cure Bowl will be
Orlando.
the first one. That's Orlando, December 16th.
December 16th, and you also have the Boca Raton Bowl, December 20th. Mm-hmm. Neither one has a tie-in. So there you go.
I think you're staring at those two bowls right there, and I think you're staring at a Florida team to match up with. I would love it to be a Power 5 school.
Absolutely.
I think that would be the best interest for UConn. There's a couple of 7-5s. There's some 7-5s. No Florida schools that I see are 7-5s. What about like a Texas Tech, a 7?
That's still a great team.
A Big 12
Absolutely.
Power 5 team. Now we're playing them in basketball on Thursday, but what about an Oklahoma State UConn bowl game? Does that float your boat?
Oklahoma State Cowboys are fantastic in football.
What about a rematch? A rematch with 7-5 Syracuse. Do you want that?
I do, but I don't think nationally that's going to get a lot of eyeballs and kids saying, "Oh, I can't wait to play for either one of those schools."
Yeah,
and go in football.
I agree. All right, here's another. I'm
like
trying.
You said, it's a recruiting tool, and you have to use this accordingly. So if we can beat Florida or Oklahoma, and some kids are thinking about, hey, I want to go there, even Auburn, because now they have Hugh Freeze as their new head coach, was just named yesterday or today from Liberty, and we beat Liberty. So we'd like to beat Auburn as well.
Ooh,
I mean, those are
cool.
Those are all ways to recruit more kids to come to UConn.
I really like that as well. Now, what about if we matched up with a 5-7 school? Would it dishearten you that
No. Depends on who they are.
Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech's not awful.
Miami. How about
Miami would be fantastic.
Now, Boca Raton Bowl, I think, would love to have the Hurricanes. Would you be cool with a Boca Raton Miami UConn bowl game?
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think that's great. Now, it was like, oh, okay, you guys beat Miami. Yeah, we beat Miami in a bowl. Yeah, you beat Miami in a bowl. But Miami was 5-7. They were really crappy that year when you beat them.
You might even get some kids to transfer.
Whoa, I never thought about that. Now, transfer portal is a big deal in the next couple of weeks. You're having a little window this year, boys and girls, for these student athletes.
Smaller than normal?
Yes.
Right.
Normally, it's whenever, wherever. Right. Now, it's like this little period that you have to transfer out. If you're out, you're out. You're in, you're in. So these bowl games with that going on makes things very interesting for all teams. I love where your head's at. Man, I thought I taught you always be recruiting.
I'm always
teaching me the
now.
ABCs, man. You're teaching me the ABCs. What about that Fenway Bowl? What if we got something up here?
That would be cool.
New Era in Yankee Stadium or the Wasabi Bowl.
We got to go to
Fenway.
either one of those and defend that turf.
The problem is the New Era.
Aren't they built-in games?
They have some contracts with some conferences. The Fenway Bowl, a lot of people around here are already tried to get tickets just in case that UConn team ends up at the Fenway Bowl. The Fenway Bowl, Wasabi Fenway, has a deal with the AAC. Now, we know Mike Oresco, commissioner of the AAC, pretty well. Actually, Dibbs knows him better because he wants to talk baseball every time and just doesn't leave Dibbs alone about it. Oresco will not go for that.
No.
Like, I don't think he's vindictive as a person, but I think he controls his conference as best as possible. And when you have a team that has bolted from his conference and you have a deal with a bowl game, you are going to try to put the pins on that bowl game to not go against what you want.
Right.
If you're not going to be a part of it, or if you are playing a part of it. What if it is one of those AAC teams? There's a couple of 7 and 5ers. SMU, Houston, ECU. Did that do it for you? UConn versus an old AAC foe? Me either, man. I'm with you. I want to play a Power 5 school. I would love for it to be on this side of the Mississippi. It would be on the top of our wish list if we could get Power 5 in Fenway. UConn versus a Power 5 in Fenway would be the ultimate. If Oresco is going to block us out from that, Power 5 in New York City at the New Era, that I think would be second place. And then a Power 5 in Florida in one of those whatever bowls. I'll take the Cure Bowl. Now, Wait a second. Cure Bowl, I think, just got filled up. I think we just filled it up, didn't we? Miami of Ohio, UAB may have just taken those spots already because we were looking at this before the show started, trying to look at.
All right, so let me give you the ones that don't have direct tie-ins. That's the Cure Bowl, the Lending Tree Bowl in Mobile, Frisco in Frisco, Texas, the Myrtle Beach one in Myrtle Beach.
Mike Crispino brought up Myrtle Beach Bowl. He's been hearing a lot of things about the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Bob Joyce jumping in. Bob Joyce, all things UConn. Do we got to do the whole thing? Lovely Bob Joyce, women's basketball, hockey.
I'm listening to you too much, Dips.
Wish list for you. What would you put on the Santa Claus wish list to get a bowl game for UConn for Bob Joyce?
Myrtle Beach.
Why?
Orlando or Tampa.
Well, you're not going, by the way, or will you go?
No. By the way,
that's the Gasparilla one.
That was going to be our topic
right.
of conversation off air, Ben. If they play the 17th, I hope you're available because we're going to Indy for basketball.
Bring it. Yeah, you know I'm game. Totally game for that.
Carmelia Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama, First Responder Bowl in Dallas, Texas, and then the Birmingham Bowl in Birmingham, Alabama at the end of the year.
Why do you want to go to Florida?
Easier for the fans. Myrtle Beach is also easier for the fans because Avello has a direct out of New Haven.
Great
New Haven. Tampa's easy to get to. Orlando's easy to get to. I mean, those would be the optimal places.
Rob brought us some great points about just thinking of recruiting. Man, I would love to play a Power 5. I would love to play an SEC school, too, and win the game. And I think that would be monstrous for recruiting.
Take whoever you get this year. I mean, for obvious reasons. You're just glad to be there this year. Should be fun. I mean, they've certainly earned it, and they get some extra practice. They actually did a shootout for the World Cup game today in advance of the World Cup game. They had a contest.
What for soccer?
Yeah, the football team did.
Now
they just had fun at practice today.
Wait,
it's on Twitter.
I want to get the bottom of this. Do you know any of the results?
No.
If anyone other than Noah Rulis won, no longer kicker.
Rulis scored. I don't know about some of them yanked them wide and missed, and the goalie made a save. But Rulis definitely scored.
I'm just more worried about somebody hurting their leg.
I know. I was thinking that
just
as well.
kick when you haven't been kicking.
Right. I got to run back because we're recording Coach Early for tomorrow night.
All right, get out of here. Thank you, Bob.
And Bob Joyce, everybody. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do some dibbles and bits, and we'll get to the bottom of did USA beat Iran next.